Hey, welcome. So today we're jumping into a really fascinating question, one that gets to the very heart of an incredible tradition. Is Taoism a philosophy or is it a religion?
So, philosophy or religion? The quick answer is, well, it's both. And that's not a cop-out. The real story, the interesting part, is in how this one tradition manages to speak to both the quiet thinker and, the everyday needs of a whole community.
The best way to get your head around Taoism is to stop thinking of it as just one single thing. Instead, picture a huge, powerful river that's actually fed by two different streams. They're separate, but they're also connected. And this isn't just some poetic image I came up with. It's actually a framework that scholars use to unpack Taoism's super rich history. And honestly, it's the key to making sense of everything else we're about to talk about.
Okay, let's put these two streams side by side. It makes it really clear. You've got philosophical Taoism, which they call daojia. This is all about personal wisdom, reading the classic texts to find that state of effortless action. Then you've got religious Taoism, daojiao, and its focus on the community's well-being, using rituals for very real-world goals, like good health and a long life. See? Same name, but pretty different aims.
All right, so let's jump into the first stream. This is probably the one you've heard of, especially if you're in the West. This is that Taoism of deep thought, quiet moments, and big, profound ideas.
So this philosophical side, daojia, it's all built on these amazing core texts from thinkers like Laozi and Zhuangzi. The whole game here is personal. It's about finding your own wisdom, your own freedom, by getting in sync with the Tao, the natural flow of everything. And the ultimate goal? It's this beautiful concept called Wu Wei, which translates to effortless action. It's that feeling of moving with life, not fighting against it.
Okay, now for something completely different. Let's explore that other stream. This is a side of Taoism that might surprise you. It's a full-on, living, breathing religion that's been at the heart of communities for a very, very long time.
And this didn't just pop up overnight. It actually grew out of these really ancient Chinese folk beliefs and shamanic practices. Then, around the 2nd century CEE, it really got organized and became what we call daojiao. But the key thing is, this isn't just some dusty old history lesson. It's alive today, with actual priests, temples, festivals, the whole shebang. And just look at what this side of Taoism is focused on. It's so practical, so grounded in the community. We're talking about things like healing people who are sick, protecting towns from bad spirits, making sure the harvest is good. It's all about guiding folks towards a long, healthy life. This is Taoism with its sleeves rolled up, getting involved in the day-to-day.
Now, this whole idea of pursuing a long life is part of a bigger thing in Chinese culture called cultivation, or gong fu. It means basically disciplined practice over time. And if that term gong fu rings a bell, well, it should. It's the exact same term that got westernized into kung fu. How cool is that?
So, okay, we've drawn this nice, clean line, right? The philosopher over here, the priest over there. But real life is never that simple. The truth is, these two streams have always been mixing and mingling. They're really just two parts of one bigger river. So, yeah, that scholarly division is super helpful for us to get a handle on things. But we gotta be careful not to take it too literally. Because in reality, these two streams have always been bleeding into each other, influencing one another all throughout history.
I love this point because it just paints such a perfect picture. Think about it. A Taoist practitioner hundreds of years ago. On their bookshelf, you'd find the Tao Te Ching, that book of deep, profound philosophy, sitting right next to a how-to manual for a healing ritual. For them, it wasn't one or the other. It was all part of the same toolkit.
And this gets to what's so brilliant about Taoism. The fact that it can be both a deep philosophy and a practical religion isn't a bug, it's a feature. That's its genius. This incredible flexibility is exactly why it's been able to adapt and thrive for thousands of years, speaking just as clearly to a scholar as it does to a farmer.
Okay, so let's bring this into the modern day with a perfect example of this flexibility. Something you've probably seen with your own eyes. I'm talking about Tai Chi, that slow, beautiful, flowing exercise you see people doing in parks everywhere. Well, it's way more than just a gentle workout. Its roots are as a Taoist martial art. It's a physical expression of these very ideas we've been talking about. Seriously, Tai Chi is like philosophy in motion. Through its smooth, flowing movements, it perfectly embodies that idea of Wu Wei,
effortless action. It's a living, breathing demonstration of yin and yang in balance. And that core idea of meeting force with softness, that's pulled straight from the pages of the Tao Te Ching.
And this, right here, really gets to the core of why Taoism has stuck around for so long. There's something in it for just about everyone. It speaks to the philosopher, to the farmer, to the martial artist, and, to the person just trying to feel a little bit better and healthier.
So, when we come back to our original question, is it a philosophy or a religion? The answer is that it's a living tradition that shows us you don't always have to choose. The two can be one. And that leaves me with a thought for you. Where else in our lives today do we see ancient wisdom and modern life coming together so perfectly? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.